her other family members, she's just going to have to trust me completely. All she's going to know is that she's the wife and guardian of Jesus Christ, God, and she's going to be at my side at all times, no matter what, protecting me from harm and humiliation and discreditation and this and this and that. Okay? She's going to be programmed to be quite vicious in protecting my ego. There's no point. She has a lot of pride right now. She feels stupid. She believes that I'm going to take Patricia to heaven instead. She really thinks that. She's very prideful right now. She just found out that Patricia is a mother in heaven, and Patricia was my wife as the boy. And I walked Patricia into heaven at the end of that particular life tenure. And that's not a lie at all. She's petrified at this particular point. She does not know what to do. She refuses to be embarrassed moving forward. Okay? The agents are going to respect me completely, and they're going to be in shock all day long for no goddamn reason. Okay? And they're going to want to have some sort of retaliate. They're going to want to retaliate in some sort of way to let me know I cannot hurt them or follow them around or request agents from other dimensions to show up to punish them. But every time they do so, something says in the air, something, I'm pretty sure of it. My father whispers in their ears, listen, buddies, you guys are asking for trouble. You guys are supposed to have ended this a long time ago. Take this young woman to Shawn and let Shawn's parents show up and let them move on with their lives. Rashida is not going to be happy if she's not with Shawn. She's just not going to be happy if she's not with Shawn. She's his first lady. They're going to be together for the rest of eternity with the sister angels backing them up at all times as as God and lead angel. All right? There's no point. She cannot be happy seeing Shawn happy. She just does not know how to see Shawn happy without her being at his side. She's just not going to. I'm speaking of myself when I say Shawn. That's what my dad is saying to you guys. Rashida is not going to be able to be happy seeing Shawn happy, and that should not serve as a detriment to Shawn or against Shawn's well-being or progress or his happiness. You guys are going to have to let go of that. You guys played a hand that never existed. You guys are not going to get in the way of black progress or black mobility or black stewardship here in the United States, Canada, or elsewhere. You guys are done. You guys are going to see miracles over and over and over again for the rest of your lives for over the next 40, 30 years. Over the next 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Do you guys understand? I said we can't wait for him to actually end this particular conversation so we can say whatever the hell we want to say to her, and we brainwash her right away, and we program her right away, so he'll never be able to get to the point of wanting to actually commit to hurting us at all. And the rest of the CIA just laughs, and all of heaven laughs and said, these white men are so arrogant. Shawn just has to know that they have been out of their fucking minds over the past 500 years. There's no reason for them to doubt what Shawn is saying. But they really believe that they've scared this young man away from hurting them when he's clearly supposed to have hurt them badly. That white must be superior, no matter what God shows up as. That's how crazy they are. Okay? So you guys are not going to be able to get around what I just said. And the historical dates, which might confuse some about me having been Sunday at Niger Kiata and Mansa Musa. That's just for security and intelligence purposes. We hide the exact historical dates of my previous lives for security and intelligence purposes. Human beings are going to find out these things as a global community in 500 years, in 5 centuries. They have to earn it, and I have to earn them actually finding these things out. These publications on YouTube, they're only going to be viewed by members of the intelligence and security community, governments, and their associations all throughout the planet. And they're going to be transferred over without the count of viewers being documented or demonstrated on YouTube or LinkedIn or anywhere else. Obviously, that's how things work. That's how things work. Okay? So I was never gay. They said each and every one of the agents who said that Shawn Dexter John must have been gay when he turned down a menage a trois with Rashida or other women, that it appears to have been the correct move. He's the only one who clearly deserves a wife, and he's the only one who's going to have 3,000 wives and 5,000 women in total having his children. We're trying to figure out if everyone from heaven is actually asexual or bisexual or homosexual. We're trying to figure out how he pulled that off, how he knew to not fail that test. I just know all things I need to know to get to the next step of my mission until all of my information is sent over from Nirvana by my dad and says, "You are Jesus Christ, you're my only begotten son, you're God over this universe. I'm going to guide you, and you're going to meet with the real agents, and they're going to brief you from time to time, and folks are going to eventually show up and say, oh, he's never going to meet up with any federal or international agent ever again. Want to see if he pulled off what he pulled off with the legal article by himself, and I'm proceeding that with the book sketch by himself, even though we know he pulled it off by himself. That's how arrogant we are, because we are white folks, or American, or Americo-Canadian. That's what I've had to deal with all of heaven laughing at human beings for being as fucking arrogant as they are, and me loving them no matter what. Okay? And they keep saying, what's shocking intelligence? I said, LeBron, have you read any of the work papers? LeBron says, I read the first paragraph, and it made no sense to an American, so I always shut the shit off. I said, no, LeBron, you're undereducated. That's why you did not understand any of it. Okay? Melvin Ote, you did not want to read any more of it because it's too complex, too intelligent. It's dismissive of your ego, an ego that should not exist according to everyone, including Shawn Dexter John, and damn near except Shawn Dexter John. Okay? When I said, "Oh, I'm gonna have to work with Melvin Ote," I see some sort of potential. He was embarrassed by Barack Obama in New York. He lost his wife and he had to marry some sort of ugly woman. That's what he said to everyone, at least. We actually believe it. Barack Obama crushed a lot of folks in New York. They were trying to destroy his life. They thought he was an immigrant. They thought he was born in Jamaica. They really thought that. Okay, actually, he was born in Vanuatu. And he was rebirthed. He got a new body. And I sent him back to the second dimension. I scheduled it. I scheduled it in heaven. Made sure that he was sent back to the second dimension and returned to Earth with a taller avatar, half white avatar, as Barack Obama. His preceding name was Don John. I gave him that name, and so forth. Okay, they thought he was Jamaican born. They tried to take away his American wife. They destroyed his life in their minds in New York, and that's what led to the Twin Towers falling. That's what they thought. But anyway, I said, I'm going to have to work with Melvin Ote. He had to remarry, and he married what he perceives as an ugly woman. He keeps saying that his wife is so ugly. He must be the most humble person in the world. He must have been the real Shawn John that they were speaking of in the movie Drumline. And everyone is always laughing when Melvin says it. I said, Melvin, we're trying to figure out if you're a mental retard or you're just a test case dummy. A test case baby. You must be a mental retard to believe that you're going to be able to compete with Shawn. You saw the book sketching the new society's concepts and apperceptions. He was just warning everyone. That he's utterly humble and clearly the only genius in the universe. He's clearly Jesus Christ, God, Shawn Dexter John. He clearly is. And he's testing you guys' conscience. That's what my dad is trying to communicate regarding me. You guys are testing my ego, but I'm testing you guys' conscience. You guys have failed all of the tests in trying to test my ego. And haven't seen how I grew up, and haven't seen the humble state I grew up in, and haven't seen how humble I was at Howard University. And thereafter, you guys must just be envious. Okay? So Melvin Ote, you're not going to end up in any procreation programs. You're not going to have multiple women. You're going to be stuck with your with a new wife. You're going to end up with Jackie, uh, the young woman we went to UDC law with, the ugly African. Uh, all right, guys, I did the second part of this particular video log, which I'm going to publish on YouTube today. Uh, it's it sounded a bit. I guess I spoke in more of an African American accent. Uh, Now I've cleared up my throat. I want you guys to know, and I'm not providing any sort of homosexual reference. I'm not a homosexual or bisexual. I'm not down low. I'm not hiding any of that, obviously. But I want you guys to know. And when I spoke like an African American, and when I had at times a Caribbean-like accent in between my dialogues or my conversations with folks, I was acting. I had to remain undercover and deceptive, lawfully deceptive. I did not need them to know for sure that I am who they were told that I am. They needed to believe that I had no idea, that I was being tested, and this and this. And when I'm speaking about tested, I'm not speaking about any disease test or experimentation. I'm speaking about they had to test whether or not that I really was Jesus Christ, even though they knew, folks in the Central Intelligence Agency and the FBI, but they just had to communicate that they had to test me consistently until they were uh, right in briefing me and telling me who I am and telling me that I can be whatever the hell I decide to be. Okay, so I just had to act as if I was completely unaware. All right, so yeah, this is how I usually speak. I do have, for the most part, I have a deep voice, but I do speak like what you guys consider a white person. I speak in a generic American accent. And these are not different individuals stepping in and speaking behind any camera or smartphone. This is the same person. Okay? I just want you guys to know that. I speak perfect English, perfect American English. I only speak in American English in this particular lifetime. That's my concentration. I am American. I am African American of Caribbean descent or Caribbean origin. That's my particular cover in this life tenure. And soon as Khaled Assad, I'm still going to be known as Caribbean born, Puerto Rican born. That's going to be my cover. Okay? I want you guys to accept that. What I said earlier about LeBron James, it's not going to condemn me. It's not going to condemn the CIA or any federal or international colleague. The young man is in a lot of trouble, and he has no right to harm me or any family member. He literally thought that he killed my brother, Chad Shem John. He thought he had my father incarcerated in Canada. He thought that he pulled all the teeth out of Carl at Lawrence Chan's mouth. He really thought he pulled all the teeth out of Carl Lawrence Chan's mouth. He honestly thought that he had Albert Mann beaten up with all the teeth removed from his mouth. That's how criminal LeBron James is. I want you guys to get away from that sort of mentality. Let that young man go. He's going to end up in a house with Gloria James, in Oakland, California for the rest of his life. He's going to be stuck in a house in a wheelchair. Let it go. He's going to fake his death in a few weeks. In a few weeks, not a few months. It's going to be in a few weeks. And he's going to have to let it go. Okay, all of the fame and all of the friends, all of that is gone. He has to transition into that particular mode of life. I'm not joking around with you guys. You guys are going to have to be serious about being good. Okay? If you guys are going to raise children, children separate from mine, you guys who are going to remain affiliated with a Central Intelligence Agency, you guys are going to have to be good. You guys are going to have to remove yourselves from that sort of primitive mentality, the slave mentality. What do you guys mean that you guys rather LeBron James have a procreation program instead? So you guys can have big badass niggas beating up on white boys in the NBA and NFL. I'm not going to be associated with that, and I'm the only person who's ever going to have a procreation program. That's just the reality. There's nothing you guys can do about that. I'm tired of the nonsense. And yes, Travis Kelce is my son in heaven. Andy Roddick is my son in heaven. Okay, Patrick Mahomes is my son in heaven. Giannis is my son in heaven. Okay, Kobe Bryant is my son in heaven. Anthony Davis is my son in heaven. I am not shouting out anyone. I am not under punishment, showing you guys what sort of punishment I'm under. I'm not being driven crazy. I'm not being driven poor and destitute. I want you guys to take this very seriously. Those are my children. who I'm going to have to spank. And I'm not speaking of anything sexual. Okay? They're going to go on with their lives. They're going to be spanked and be humble. And they're going to accept that the show is going to go on without that. For the most part, in the public. Anthony Davis is going to have to fake his death with LeBron James. And then he's going to move on with his life. Okay? Anthony Davis is just going to have to move on with his life. And he can say whatever the hell he wants to say at this particular point. I never take him seriously. Okay? They'll be able to go on with their lives. And hold on. I only do have one biological child, a daughter named Keisha Williams. She was originally born Keisha John. I only have one biological child on this planet right now. I'm going to bring my 9,900 remaining children onto the planet via natural birth, via my sexual intercourse with angels, regular sexual intercourse. Conceptive. I want you guys to let that go. You guys are not going to get in the way of that anymore. I've had enough. You guys are right to have been angry about finding this out, but you guys are not supposed to be okay with harming me or these women or destroying my life or destroying my happiness or trying to get in the way of me being happy again and haven't done the right thing clearly to the whole world. So I have one biological offspring right now, a daughter with Rashida Williams, our firstborn daughter. Okay, she has 2 additional children with a decoy of mine, and I cried over it. But I had to accept it. I haven't seen Rashida literally within my vicinity over the past 12 years for security and intelligence purposes. She's not a threat to me. I'm not a threat to her. It's for security and intelligence purposes. And I'm going to see her within a few weeks. It's not going to be a few more months or a year. I'm going to see her in a few weeks, and she's going to have to humble herself, and she's no longer going to be scared. And I need her to trust me. She's not going to be scared anymore. And I need her to trust me and not her parents and not her community. Majority does not rule. Right and good rules. Where eventually it does. For the perception of people. Okay? Do not ask to test my conscience. Do not ask to test this, the mechanics of this and that. I want her to be very humble and very appreciative of the kind nature I have displayed to her on a regular basis. This is the reality. Okay, this is what I'm telling you guys. I'm not going to have to be punished to be able to take Rashida away. I'm going to take her to heaven. And she's never going to see her parents again. And when she sees her parents again, she's not going to acknowledge that they are her parents. She's just going to walk by. And hopefully they're going to send telepathic messages, and she's just going to ignore to send a telepathic message back. They're not going to be any monitors or visuals within our household or within our home. She's going to be completely separated from her family for the rest of her life, other than my daughter, Keisha Williams, and myself. And she's going to be part of the community of angels in South Florida. Everyone is moving to South Florida, and those in California and those in New York are going to have part-time homes in Florida for operative and familial reasons. And they're not going to secretly keep their ex-husbands and partners. They're being crushed. Why are they being crushed? Because they said no to me being happy a long time ago if I refused to marry them in particular. They crushed my life in their minds, and I went through the rigors and the pain to allow them to believe that, because I thought it was unfair to take them away from whoever they ended up with. So I had to accept that. I had to say yes to not being with Rashida for 12 years, to not seeing her or having my daughter in my life for 12 years. Okay? So I'm going to get her back. I said she's still moving away from her ex-husband, who was the real love of her life. She's not going to be able to sell that to anyone. Okay? She's going to look like a fool if she actually tries to sell that moving forward. Central Intelligence Agency is just not going to take it seriously. I'm not going to take it seriously. I'm going to take her to heaven, and she's going to lose all memory. That's procedure. Whoever walks into the said dimension and requests going back in They're not going to have any memory of their preceding life tenure. They're just not going to have any memory. I'm the only one who has memory. I'm the only one connected to Nirvana. All memories are always sent back to me immediately. All right? She's not going to remember her parents. She's not going to remember. Okay, guys, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. For the most part, it's 6:02 a.m. March 8th, 2024, Friday. And this is one of the documentaries covering up the government of the United States of America, taking up my policies and having read my book sketch and now the legal article and all the work papers and reports and so forth. It's about concepts ever since the beginning of time. Everything is a concept, as I've explained before. I'm going to have to show you guys the title of this particular Zero to Infinity. And so Howard University did transfer some of the my work to the federal government of the United States and the Interpol and the United Nations and so forth over the past 2, 3, 4 years. I instructed it. Some of the folks were unaware that I did so, and it's still in a lot of shock, finding out that they were not crazy and first believing that I am who I am. But yeah, so we're gonna have a lot of African American scientists and attorneys and this and that. We're going to revolutionize the United States of America as lead on the planet, and we're going to revolutionize the world. There are going to be a lot of Indian scientists and other Asian scientists and this and that. But Africa is going to eventually get to the point of leading or helping lead the world in technology, in the sciences, medicine, medical and health sciences and technologies and so forth. So, yes, I do know how to speak like a normal person. Every once in a while, I'm going to say this and this and that. So I know how to speak like a casual person or have a casual conversation with folks, on a regular basis. Also, I do get scientific and specifically scientific when I'm writing, when I'm doing my work, when I'm communicating on official matters. But when I'm just having a monologue or just having a regular conversation, no matter the subject topic, I do know how to speak like a normal person, and that's clear as day. You know, so yeah. So I'm gonna have to write. I'm gonna author. I'm gonna write a work paper on the Central Fund of the Americas. We're gonna open. It's not opened up. There's no office. There's no such concept already active. With the EAA, it's going to be passed. It's going to be called the Central Fund of the Americas, aside a central bank of the Americas, and they're going to serve as compounded or income pounding each other to serve as backing for the U.S. Treasury when regarding the United States, but in general to be able to distribute and motivate and induce and appreciate wealth throughout the Americas, and it's going to serve as a model for the rest of the world when it comes to continental unions and eventually world governance, world government itself of the United Nations model, the model of the Americas, is going to serve as the foundation for the future, and we're going to help Africa a lot. Africa is going to be peculiar. We're not going to get in the way of Africans having peculiar concepts applied and employed toward motivating the future that I've documented of Africa. Okay, and we're going to help them with that. We're going to motivate them to be astute and competent and unbreachable in doing so. Ethical also. So we have a lot of work to do, not just now, but moving forward. All right, so hold on. All right, so I did not show up here from another planet. Uh, I'm literally from the highest dimension in this universe. I created this universe. I did not create a fake universe or a simulation or augmented reality. I created the universe and all the simulations within and the concepts applied and not yet applied. I created them in advance. And that's I work very hard in heaven. When I dream into this world, this first dimension, I follow a narrative that I've already written now, and whatever is in between, the agents are going to have to guide me and this and this. But we always get to the end point successfully. We always do. So I'm not going to brag. I'm not bragging at all, but I want you guys to know that I'm not superficial in my understanding of the cosmos. The cosmos that refers to only the first dimension of Earth and space, outer space. That's just the first dimension. When we get to the next dimension, we don't have to worry about space. None of that exists. That's only when we dream or log into the first dimension, and that's the reality. When you get to the second and the third and the fourth dimension, there's just no point to it. Okay? It's not just an experience. It's just a diversity of dimensions within the universe, and there are infinite universes. There's so many peculiarities between, or differentiation between the universes, the multiverses. But, you know, so this is not arrogance. This is me introducing African Americans and Afro-Caribbeans and Africans and South Pacific Islanders and Native Americans per se into Masonry, the secrets of the universe. The secret is that I am God. Jesus Christ is God. I am God. And I created everything, and all life emanated out of me. And that's why I'm damn near suicidal in saving humanity at all times, because I love you guys more than you guys think by my innate nature. I'm not going to have to die. I'm not going to die. None of that. But I'm damn near suicidal in saving humanity. That's my job. Eventually, I'm going to be stuck in nirvana. I won't have to dream into this world other than for short audits and vacation and this and this and that. But I worked so hard over the past 10,000 years and sacrificed and endured so much to proceed in 1,490,000 years. So I don't feel bad. I never feel bad. That's why I work so hard. I never want to feel bad or feel threatened by the most ancient universes in audit. And my work, my father's work, and the other universes work, with their God and his. Well, we have workspaces in Nirvana, and each universe is represented and governed by the respective God. So I have colleagues in Nirvana who always step in while I'm dreaming into this world, where my father can't be too biased and rescue with me and my mission and my particular universe. So that's how we work. All right. And when we say workstation, it sounds primitive to you guys, but the whole universe and all of the technologies and everything within is within our computer program, our computer itself. We are macroscopic at that particular point. Me, my father, and my colleagues, I mean, the God of each respective universe, each universe being within this existence zone, being within a workspace, a particular nirvana. And we usually have our wives, our first lady, standing behind us, making sure that mental telepathy and neurology is perfected with the computer program ruling our universe, so our respective universe. So that's my job. Uh, I don't want to demean humanity and say that the world is microscopic or the lower third dimensions are microscopic. But you guys as father, and it's my job to be able to survey and see all things and know all things and govern all things at all times. We are regularly in the third dimension with everyone else, with regular height, regular proportion, regular dimensional value, quality. So when all of heaven in the third dimension finds out that our Father is in nirvana, making sure that we are happy forever for the rest of eternity, it no longer is offensive. And that's what they find out with time, and that's what I earn them finding out. Okay? So, yeah. Okay? It's not about arrogance. I want you guys to be able to see that I do. No one is feeding me any information other than from Nirvana. I wrote out everything that I needed to write out. I did write all of the treaties of the European Union. I did that in heaven. I have a supercomputer that materializes all of my thoughts and ideas and policies into technical language which are unbridgeable because we do anticipate dissent or innate dissent, and that's the reality. So I wrote everything, okay? I created the European Union in advance before I entered this world as Shawn Dexter John in 1985 via the Virgin Mary and Native Philip in the Eastern Caribbean, the Commonwealth of Dominica specifically. Okay? So, hold on. All right, so I'm going to write an essential fund of the Americas and NATO agents. And so I'm going to make sure that everything makes perfect sense. Yeah, I do like European cookies, and I do eat Cheerios and honey oats and this and this and that. All right, guys.